When it comes to managing money, most of us try to follow the standard advice, budget, save, invest. Sometimes it's the unconventional habits that make the biggest difference. I recently came across an article that highlighted some unusual money saving behaviors people swear by. It might seem strange at first, but the fact of the matter is, a lot of these ideas are rooted in practicality. Now, they may not be for everyone, but they work for the people who use them. And it got me thinking, what habits have you picked up over the years that others might not understand? Drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear what's worked for you. Hey guys, welcome back to Old Guy Talks Money. Thanks for watching, and if you're enjoying the content, please consider hitting that like and subscribe. I know today's video is a little different. I'm not talking about options trading or Social Security or, as bad as I love to do it, sharing an Excel spreadsheet. What I'm doing is walking through some weird money habits people actually use to save. And I know they're going to sound odd, but you might find a few worth trying yourself. So here's the first one. I only use my car every week, so I think of my glove compartment as a bank. Whenever I pull into my space, I put $10 or $20, whatever I have in my wallet, into the glove compartment because it's out of sight, out of mind. I don't spend it, and then when I have 100 cash, I go to an actual bank. Now, this one's odd to me, and I don't like the idea of having that much cash in a car. Makes me a little nervous. Guys, how many of y'all, when you go through a drive-through and you pay with cash and you get the change, you stick it down in your console? I know I do it, and I know that once that little thing gets full, I bring it in and I put it in my money jar. So I think there's something here. And I don't love the idea of just, again, putting 10s and 20s in your glove box. Y'all do you, but I do think there is an idea here where you can, put that loose change in your console, and you know what? Over time, it really does add up. Now, here's the next one. I'm a nanny, so I get paid in cash. Whenever I get $5 bills, I put them in a separate envelope. This money becomes my fun money, so I know I can either take one out and buy a cappuccino or keep adding to it and splurge for fun dinner with friends. I really like this idea, and I will tell you that when I saw this is kind of really what intrigued me about this whole article, because I was like, I do this one. Many years ago, probably 2000, 2014, 2013, 2014, I was talking with a friend of mine at work, and he said he did this, and I thought that's a really interesting idea. So every time I got a $5 bill, I'd save it. It got to be where, to this day, my family knows I will not spend a $5 bill. And so if they have to pay me back for something, they're going to pay me in fives because it tickles them to know that I've got to turn around and save it. But guys, over the years, I've offset the cost of Christmas. I've helped pay for vacations. And last year, my lawnmower died and I had to buy a new riding lawnmower. So my son did all his searching on Facebook Marketplace and found us one. And I paid for a used zero-turn lawnmower $2,700 with $5 bills. Now, my son went to pick it up, so I didn't get to see it, but I know that guy thought, I have no idea what these guys are doing, because, $5 bills, wrapped 100 of them, so $500 blocks with rubber bands around them, and paid for that lawnmower. I like this idea. I realize in today's world, a lot of people don't use cash like I do, but this is one I continue to do, and I will continue to do in the future. So here's the next one. Every week I take $100 out for fun, which includes lunch and drinks. Put the cash in a jar and decorate it on my desk. Actually having to pull money out means I'm super conscious of how I'm spending it, and also keeps me honest. For example, I only use that money, not my debit card, for lunches out. So if I don't have the money with me, then I'm going to eat the lunch I brought from home and not go out with coworkers. I think this is a good idea. I do a version of this. I have said in another video, every week I go to the bank, I take out $200. That's my spending money for the week. What I don't use, I have envelopes that I'm saving for a specific purpose. But I like this idea of setting a limit, being conscious of it, and if you don't have it, you do something else. So again, I think there's something here. Here's the next one. I'm so bad about buying lattes just because. And I know that $5 adds up. So whenever I feel the urge to buy a latte, I make the crappy office coffee and make sure to move $5 from checking to savings. It's a neat trick that actually makes me see how much I'm saving. I've heard people say that, cutting back on the avocado toast and the Starbucks is never going to make you a millionaire. But guys, it does add up. And I really like this idea of saving. I was going to spend this, I didn't, so I move it over. Now, I do a similar flavor of this. When I go to the grocery store, I have a budget, okay? When I get back from the store, but let's say I'm under my budget, well, I pay off my credit card and then I save that difference. I am specific that whatever the difference is between my budget and groceries, it gets moved to saving. If you don't do that, if you're not intentional with it, what ends up happening is you're under your budget, but it just gets spent someplace else. You're not paying attention to it. So I like the idea of setting a budget. If you're under that budget, whatever you didn't use, then you intentionally move it to savings. So again, I think there's an idea here that y'all could adopt that will help. Next one. I was paying $333 a month for my car payment. When I finally paid it off, I kept the payments going into my savings account because I'd been paying it all along. I never missed the money, and it was so satisfying to see the money add up so fast in my savings account. Here's another one I really like. Really like this idea. Now, I was blessed, y'all. Many, many years ago, 2009, as part of my role at work, I was afforded a company car. I knew at some point in time I was going to have to buy a car. So in 2009, I started saving an amount, for a car payment, or as if I had a car payment. Let me say it that way. So when I retired at the beginning of this year, I'd saved enough to go out and buy a brand new car. Now, my wife's a little bit younger than I am. She's got, 2 to 5 years to go, depending on what she wants to do. But I have already started saving now for her a car. But I like this idea of it's baked into your budget. You've been used to spending it. Now just keep it in your budget and save that amount of money. You're not going to miss it. And if you're doing like I'm doing, saving for a specific purpose, it actually helps in the end. This is so weird. But thinking about how much celebrities get paid for sponsored Instagrams made me decide to pay myself. For every photo I Insta, I at least try to put $1 in a drawer. Now, this one, of all the ones I've talked about so far, this one is probably one of the oddest. But I get the idea. So let me give you an example. Many years ago, when I was seriously dog training, one of the commands you have with dogs is a come command, and it's a very specific command, and it means, hey, you're over there. I want you to come to me and sit, front and center, okay? But it's a very specific command. But if you think about it, it's a word we use a whole lot. So you're walking with your dog and you go, come on, let's go. Well, you don't want to confuse them. When I say that come command, they're over there. I want them over here. They're supposed to come to me. And I had to break myself of saying, come on, let's go. So what I did was I set up a jar. It's kind of like a cuss jar. And as I was working the dog, every time I said come, when I did not mean the come command, I put $1 in that jar. It took me, I wish I could tell you because it's been years ago, but I saved enough from doing that to pay for an entire weekend of show entries by doing that. And to this day, unless I mean that intent, you're over there, come, I say, let's go. So I'm walking the dog and I want to move with me. If I'm not giving them a heel command or something, it's like, let's go, let's go. But I do think there's something here. Now, I don't know about the Instagram post. I'm not a big social media person either, though I'm on YouTube. But I do think that there are things in our lives that you could do this with. And I think it's something to consider. And it's fun. I just tell everyone that I'm on a spending fast. I feel like people get it. Before, I would just say I didn't want to go out to dinner or drinks, and people would assume I was avoiding them. When I say I would love to do something, but I can't spend any money, it's amazing how creative we can get to find cool, free stuff to do. There's a movement that's going on right now called loud budgeting. And it's basically where people are talking about saving money in their finances. And I think it's a really, really good thing. You know, if you're going to have the desire, the dedication to be financially free, telling people and talking about it, I think that really will help you get there. All right, last one. Freeze your credit card. Yes, literally. Yes, literally in a bag of water. I know it's cliche, and it's true that I could defrost it in seconds under warm water, but it did stop me from making impulse purchases. Again, this is one's out there, but I do understand the idea. You know, if you put a barrier between yourself and that click that's so easy to do on Amazon, that impulse purchases, it will help you. How many of you people do this? You go and you think, these are things I want. You put them in your Amazon cart, and then you wait 48 hours or 72 hours, and then you decide if you really want it then. Again, it's being intentional with your money. So that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. And again, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. Don't forget to tell me your unusual habits in the comments. I really enjoy reading what works for you all. And I think, even though it may not fit exactly, a lot of these ideas that y'all will have will help other people. So let me leave you with this. Whether it's hoarding $5 bills or freezing your credit card or turning your glove compartment into a bank, again, I don't know about that one, you never know which weird habit might actually help you get ahead. The point is, and this is the takeaway, if it works for you, it works. I hope this gave you a few new ideas, or at least a few good laughs. Thanks again, and I will see you in the future.